Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I am going to do Unit 2 of Class 8, that is Land, Soil, Water, Natural Vegetation and Wildlife Resources. And yeah, the first paragraph here, the story given in the book, that's mainly relevant for the 8th class students only, not for UPSC aspirants. So we will skip that part. Now, land is among the most important natural resources. Why? Because we live on the land, right? That's why it's very important. Now, the uneven distribution of population in different parts of the world is mainly due to the varied characteristics of land and climate. For example, the land is not the same everywhere, right? If you go to the northern side of India, like the Himalayan region, you will find slopes, rugged topography and mountains. If you go to the Rajasthan, it becomes a desert area. If you go for the Ganga Valley, they are the plains and rivers, which make it sustainable for agriculture. So these are the different types of land we see. Now, what do you mean by land use? If the land is left unused, it remains just land. But when we use it, for example, for agriculture, forestry, mining, building houses and roads or setting up industries, then it becomes land use. So land use means the different ways in which land is utilized. The use of land is determined by physical factors such as topography, soil, climate, minerals, and availability of water. For example, if you are starting a mining industry, you need a sustainable topography. Now, topography means the physical features of the area, whether the region is plain, hilly, or mountainous. Also, the type of soils matters, and the climate too. If it's too hot or too cold, it might not be suitable. The weather should be stable for proper land use. The land can also be classified on the basis of ownership, that is private land and community land. Private land is owned by individuals and community land is owned by the community and used for common purpose such as collection of fodder, fruits, nuts and medicinal herbs. These community lands are also called common property resources. Now let's move to the topic of conservation of land resources. To conserve land resources, we must practice afforestation. That means planting more trees, because deforestation is one of the main causes of land degradation and desertification. So to conserve land, we must take care of our natural environment and prevent soil erosion and degradation. Now, the next topic is soil. The thin layer of grainy substance covering the surface of the earth is called soil. Soil is made up of organic matter, minerals, and weathering rocks found on the Earth's surface. This process happens through weathering. Now, what do you mean by weathering? Weathering means the breaking up and decay of exposed rocks due to the changes in temperature, frost action, or by the action of plants, animals, and human activity. Now, what do you mean by landslides? It means the mass movement of rock debris or earth down a slope. For example, in hilly regions, sometimes rocks or soil suddenly move downwards. That's called a landslide. Why does it happen? It can be happen due to human activity. For instance, when hills are cut down to make roads, the slopes become weak and can't hold the mountain firmly, leading to landslide. It can also occur due to earthquakes, where the sudden movement of earth causes the land to slide down. And now look at this image. You can see topsoil with humus and vegetation, and that means in the topsoil we get humus and vegetation. Below that we have the subsoil, which contains sand, silt and clay. Then the third layer is weathered rock or weathered material, and the last one is parent rock. And now the parent rock is the strongest layer. Next comes the weathered rock, which means it's a bit broken down. After more breaking, it becomes subsoil, and after further weathering, it becomes topsoil. And remember, this whole process takes hundreds of years to form just 1 centimeter of soil. Now, factors of soil formation. The major factors of soil formations are nature of the parent rock, climate, time, flora, fauna, and microorganisms, and relief. Let's understand them one by one. Parent rock. It determines the color, texture, chemical properties, mineral content, and permeability of the soil. And also, climate means the temperature and rainfall influence the rate of weathering and the humus formation. And the time, it determines the thickness of the soil profile. And also flora, fauna and microorganisms, these affect the rate of humus formation. And relief means the altitude and slope, which determines how much soil can accumulate in a particular place. And all these are important factors of soil formation, and they are very important for UPSC prelims exam, okay? Because sometimes in UPSC they ask questions like which of the following factors affect the soil formation, and they may give some wrong options along with correct ones. So you should know how to eliminate the incorrect options smartly. Now let's talk about degradation of soil and its conservation measures. Soil degradation happens mainly due to several reasons. That is deforestation, overgrazing, overuse of chemical fertilizers, rainwash, landslides and floods. Now the methods of soil conservation. In that, the first one is mulching. The bare ground between the plants is covered with a layer of organic matter like straw. This helps to retain soil moisture and prevent it from drying out. Second one is contour barrier. And here the stones, grass and soil are used to build barrier along the contour lines on the slope. Trenches are made in the front of this barrier to collect water. This method helps in reducing water flow and prevent soil erosion. The third one is rock dam. In this method, rocks are piled up to slow down the flow of water. This prevents the formation of gullies and terraces. Rock dams are mostly used in hilly region. Next, fourth one is terracing. On the steep slopes, terracing is done to create flat surface for growing crops. This method reduces surface runoff and helping in controlling soil erosion. Next, fifth one is intercropping, means growing different crops in alternate rows or at a different time. This protects the soil from rainwash and helps maintaining soil fertility. Contour plowing means plowing parallel to the contour lines of a hill slope. This helps to form a natural barrier, preventing water from flowing down too quickly and thus reducing soil erosion. Next, seventh one is shelter belts. In coastal and dry regions, rows of trees are planted to check wind movement. This protects the soil cover from being blown away by strong winds. The next topic is water. You know, water is a very important resource, right? Water can neither be added nor subtracted from the earth. Its total volume always remains constant. You might wonder, suppose there's a heavy rainfall, doesn't the amount of water increase? But no, it remains constant. Its abundance only seems to vary because it is in the constant motion, that is recycling between the oceans, air and land again and again through the process of evaporation, precipitation and runoff. This process, as you already know, is called as the water cycle. Next, problems of water availability. The conservation of water resources is very important. Most chemicals that pollute water are non-degradable. This means if water gets polluted with the nitrates, metals and pesticides, it becomes unusable and harmful for health. These chemicals do not vanish naturally. They remain in the water for a long time. To control water pollution, should be properly treated before being released into water bodies. And another important method is water harvesting, which helps to save surface runoff and store water for future use. Now let's move to the next topic, that is natural vegetation and wildlife. You already know the term biosphere, right? It means the zone where hydrosphere, atmosphere, lithosphere meet. These regions supports life and all these components are interrelated and interdependent. The life supporting system formed by these interactions is called as ecosystem. For example, trees provide shelter and food for birds. That's interdependence. Similarly, in nature, every organism depends on others to survive. Now also wildlife includes birds, insects, aquatic life and many animals. Animals like cows and goats provide milk and meat, while insects like bees are help in pollination, which is very important for growing new plants. And let's not forget vultures. They feed on dead livestock, which helps to clean the environment. They are scavengers and very important because if vultures are not there, the remains of dead animals would start piling up everywhere, even near our homes. Distribution of natural vegetation. The growth of vegetation depends mainly on temperature and moisture. You already learned in the last class that different regions have different types of vegetation. For example, in equatorial region, there are dense rainforests. In dry areas with low rainfall, shrubs will grow, and these plants have deep roots and thorny or waxy leaves to reduce moisture loss through transpiration. In the cold polar region, the tundra vegetation consists of mosses and lichens. Now, due to the climate change and human interference, many plants and animals are losing their natural habitat. Activities like deforestation and poaching have caused several species to become endangered or extinct. To prevent this, awareness programs and government efforts are being promoted as international conventions like CITES have been established. And CITES stand for Conventions on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. It is an international agreement between governments to ensure that trade in wild animals and plants does not threaten their survival. Currently, about 5,000 species of animals and 28,000 of species of plants are protected under CITES. And that's it for Unit 2. I will upload Unit 3 in the coming days. Till then, don't forget to like, share and subscribe.